So over the weekend, I got to see the new Spider-Man movie. So let's talk about that.
When's our next retreat?
Next mission? We'll call you.
Do you have my numbers?
Someone will call you.
Yeah. Hold on to that. Does anybody fight? This is my chance to prove myself.
Yeah, Spider-Man! Do me a favor. Stay close to the ground.
Oh, hey.
All right, so I saw Spider-Man: Homecoming a couple days ago, and I was a little worried because this is the second reboot of Spider-Man after the Amazing Spider-Man 2 flopped. Well, it didn't really flop, it just wasn't good. And I was a little worried because since basically I thought the Amazing Spider-Man was okay, but it wasn't great, and Spider-Man 2 was not good, or Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not good. And then Spider-Man 1 was good, the original. Spider-Man 2 was considered for a long time to be one of the best superhero movies. And then Spider-Man 3 just crashed and burned. That was garbage. Specifically because what they did to one of my favorite characters in the comics, which is Venom. But we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about Spider-Man. I was worried about what this would do. I was a little worried about how it would go, but at the same time, with Marvel taking it over again, with this new MCU, Spider-Man, at least Spider-Man new to it, I thought it might be interesting to see what they do. A lot of people were worried about Robert Downey Jr. being in it as Tony Stark. They were worried that it was just going to be more Iron Man. I never really got that feeling. So I wasn't too worried going in, and your worries aren't needed. It is not Iron Man 4, as some people were claiming it would be. A few things about the movie itself before I go really in deep to it. This is non-spoilers, so you don't have to worry about that. I'll put that in the title. I will be doing a spoiler video right after this one, so if you've already seen it and want to see my full thoughts on it. Let's start with instead of starting with Spider-Man, or the movie itself, let's start with Michael Keaton. I've been a fan of Michael Keaton for a long time, basically since I was a kid. His playing Bruce Wayne Batman, the first real Batman in my opinion, at least a serious take on him. He was great as a villain here. He was really, really good as the villain. The interaction between himself and Spider-Man was really good. He was a really good Marvel villain, and this movie kept it much closer to the ground. You're going to hear that a lot in this movie. This is Spider-Man in his beginning. It's not an origin story. So if you're sick of seeing Spider-Man's origin story retold, you don't have to. It's not an origin story. So you don't have to worry about that. But he's still new to being Spider-Man. So it's very interesting to see where they took that. And it worked really, really well. Like, the world is not ending in this movie. There's not some world-changing event. It is a local hero story, as you saw from that TV spot. This is the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and it worked really well. And they made a few changes to canon, as far as some characters and some villains go, and I'll get into that in the spoiler review. But Keaton was a great villain. He was a great villain. The Vulture has always been interesting to me, and they took it in a completely different direction, and that's okay because it was pretty good. And there's some overall themes that I didn't think about until after the movie that worked really well in that keying to the Vulture. But anyway, Keaton was a great villain. Moving on. This is a very funny movie. This is probably the funniest Spider-Man movie you've seen. It is a high school movie mixed in with some Spider-Man elements, really, and it makes this movie in my opinion, great. It's a really, really good movie, and it's a very funny movie. Come here expecting to laugh. Now, it's not Guardians of the Galaxy 2, like joke, 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 but it's almost there, and it works really well in my opinion. It's a very funny movie, so go in expecting to laugh. At least I hope you do. This is the best Peter Parker / Spider-Man. Tom Holland is better than Tobey Maguire at playing Peter Parker. And he's better at Andrew Garfield than playing Spider-Man. And I believe Tobey Maguire was a good Peter Parker, and Andrew Garfield was actually a decent Spider-Man. Not decent. I think he was a little better than Tobey Maguire. But I think Tom Holland is better at both than those actors. I think this is the Spider-Man. Tom Holland is Spider-Man / Peter Parker. He comes right. It seems like he comes right out of Ultimate Spider-Man. It seems like he does, and I really enjoyed those comics a lot. I loved the '90s cartoon as well. Ultimate Spider-Man's okay as the cartoon today. I haven't watched too much of it, but he comes right out. This reminds me of Ultimate Spider-Man a lot. It's very, like I said, he's very clever. He's got the quips when he's Spider-Man, which Tobey seemed to lack in my opinion. But he's also got the sort of he's smart, but he's awkward. You know, he works really well as Peter Parker. He's not this brooding, almost Batman take that Andrew Garfield did with him. Not necessarily Andrew Garfield's fault. And he's not the overly whiny version that Tobey Maguire made, which, you know. But anyway, I think Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man / Peter Parker. I really do. I was surprised by that. I mean, going in, he was really good in Civil War. I enjoyed him in Civil War. I liked him in Civil War. And there's a scene at the beginning which is really interesting, which sort of ties into Civil War. Anyway, Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. If you want to go see the best Spider-Man you've ever seen as far as the character goes, the best Spider-Man / Peter Parker, that's what you're going to see in this film, in my opinion. To round this up real quick, there's a couple twists in this movie that I was not expecting, and these twists, one of them was very good. One of them was like, wow, okay, I wasn't expecting that. And the other one was more like at the end, it was kind of, the end of the day, it's sort of like the twist was just like, all right. I mean, I guess, you know, it's interesting to see where they're going to take that. And I don't want to talk any more about that. I'll talk about that in the spoiler review. Overall, this quick little video, I'm telling you to go see this movie. Is it the best Spider-Man movie we've ever had? I don't know. 2 is still very good, but I haven't seen it in a long time, so I can't accurately compare 2 to this movie. But if you want to say out of all the others, I would say this movie stacks right up there with 2. Is it better? I don't know. I need to go back and watch Spider-Man 2, but it's better than all the others. This is the Spider-Man we've been looking for. This is the Spider-Man from the comics, the teenage Spider-Man. He's funny. There's quite a bit of tension in this movie, so there's some edge of the seat action. You get to see him still learning to become Spider-Man while not having to go through his origin again. It's very funny. I can't stress enough how funny this movie is. And I'm excited to see where they go with this. Their next movie is supposed to be in 2019 as far as Spider-Man goes. I don't know how he's going to figure into the rest of the Marvel movies. I will talk about that in the next video. But for now, I guess that's it. And I hope you enjoyed this little non-spoiler review. And you tell me what you think about it when you go see it. And the spoiler review will be coming up soon. Leland loses 6-4 out.